What's going on, guys? My name is Max, and I'm here with the Livewire. And joining me today is the amazing Derek of Mayday Parade. He's here to talk about the upcoming Australian tour, Three Cheers for 20 Years. How you going today, Derek?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Tallahassee, Florida, and life's good.
Perfect. All right, so 20 years of Mayday Parade. You guys have done seven albums. You got an eighth one coming out pretty shortly as well. You've done multiple EPs, countless tours all over the world. Looking back on all that, when you first originally started this band, did you believe you'd accomplish so much or even get to 20 years? Because that's a big accomplishment alone for bands these days.
For sure. No, definitely not. I mean, it's hard to say what I thought the future of all of it was back then, but I definitely didn't think that we'd still be doing it for this long. And, I think when we first started, we had such a sort of short-sighted vision of, it was like, what are we doing 6 months from now, or like maybe a year from now, like at the most. But that was kind of it. Like our sights were set for that, like, and then we just kinda kept on going and kept on grinding, and now here we are 20 years later.
Yeah, it's such a fantastic accomplishment because you see, lots of bands just take kicking off lots of things and their goals and different things. And it's always good to just pace yourselves and not reach too far up and all that sort of thing. So that's really cool. So, just, yeah, so also joining you on the tour in September, you've got Jack's Mannequin and the home team. I've seen that also Jack's Mannequin and you guys are going to be on When We Were Young Fest. Do you feel like this is going to be a bit of like a warm up for that tour to give you guys a vibe and have you guys like toured in the past together?
Yeah, for sure. I'm so pumped to do anything with Andrew McMahon. I'm a huge Something Corporate fan and Jack's Mannequin and Andrew McMahon and the Wilderness fan. I've met him a handful of times. Actually, going way back to Warped Tour 2008 was the first time I met him, but we've never toured together. So very, very excited for this opportunity. And he's a huge inspiration to me, and I've been trying to take my piano playing a lot more seriously the
Yeah.
last year or two, and he's a big part of that, as well as a few other artists. But yeah, anybody who can just like shred like that and sing is the coolest thing to me. So very pumped to be with them.
Yeah, does that provide any like extra nerves touring with like inspirations and all that? Does that like change how behave in front of them or anything, or does that put like any extra pressure on yourself or
It's yes and no. In some ways, I guess kind of I feel like it's kind of in the back of my mind, like maybe like when we're on stage, like, oh, I have to impress him, but
yeah.
it doesn't, it doesn't mess with me that much. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I've met him a handful of times and he's always been super cool and kind. And so I'm sure that'll be the same, and I think it'll be pretty comfortable.
Amazing. All right. So, in regards to the new album that's coming out, you got the album coming out April 18th. It's called Sweet. I heard that it is a part of a three-piece release. First of all, I just want to say congratulations on the upcoming release. But when it comes to designing the set list for the upcoming tour, how are you going about like introducing the new music as well as incorporating the greatest hits as it is, celebrating 20 years that is Mayday Parade?
For sure. Yeah. It gets harder and harder every tour that we do after we put out music. We've now got so many songs and albums to play music from, and it's difficult because you want to do it's kind of a balance of like, playing the songs that are, the biggest crowd pleasers, as well as the songs that we love the most, but not doing the same songs every time. So you kind of want to throw in some deeper cuts and you want to rotate things around. And so it's always this kind of balancing act. But this one actually ended up being a little bit easier to put together because of the 20-year aspect of it. We decided that we should play a little bit of something from every release, which we don't always do. There's a handful of albums that don't always, get represented in a set list. So you kind of start with like the more obvious songs, the most popular songs from each album, and that gets you most of the way there, and then it's just kind of figuring out what else to throw in there. So it came together pretty nicely. Hopefully people are pumped about it. You never know. You're never going to make everybody happy, but we're just going to do the best we can to make as many people happy as possible.
Well, I'm for sure definitely very excited to come to the tour and, watch it live. Like you guys were last here with All Time Low, and I saw you guys at all five shows for that. So I'm super excited to see you headline again, which is going to be super amazing. So I'm sure you'll be able to
Awesome.
please like new fans and old fans at this tour, which will be amazing.
Yeah, well, that's super
Um,
sweet. Thank you.
so just going back to talking about the album real quick. So these days I've seen a few bands like locals like Bad Love from Australia and even Bring Me the Horizon doing like multiple albums that kind of interlude into one massive story. And since you guys are doing that across these next couple of releases, what brought on that creative decision? Like what made you decide to do three albums in particular and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, for sure. It actually wasn't planned from the very beginning of this. The original plan was to go in and record half of an album, and that would have been our eighth full length. And then while we were in the studio recording that, half of an album, essentially, I think, it was like 8 songs or whatever it was. Um, we kind of thought about, well, when this gets released, it'll be our 20-year anniversary as a band. And how neat would it be to do something bigger than what we've ever done before? And it just kind of worked out that it's like, we just kind of recorded, we could do a 3-part release, and this, what we've recorded just now, can be part one. And then we went into the studio late last year. And so we got done about 2 or 3 months ago with part two, which would have been, finishing up the full length if we had stuck to the original idea. But we just kind of wanted to roll with this. And so that was part two. And then we'll go into the studio at some point later this year and do part three. But yeah, it just kind of came together and made sense. And it's well, it's too early to tell whether it's a smart move or not, but
Yeah.
I think it just makes sense, and I think it's an exciting way to um, showcase the band at this 20-year stage of, putting out something that's more grand than anything we've done before. And it'll be a whole lot of music that comes out this year. And I don't know that all 3 parts will come out this year. The last part might come out next year. But it's just, feels big and exciting and fun. So hopefully that all plays out.
Yeah, you got to give the fans like something to wait for, some like suspense to build with that. With
Yeah.
the with the story you're trying to like tell with that album, can you hint at it a little bit? Like across those three, is there like one major story, or is it like what was the vibe that you're kind of going for with it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wish that we were better at that, at kind of crafting this story that we're telling, and articulating that. But it's really just us coming in with a bunch of songs and trying to pick the best ones and record them. And because we're Mayday Parade and we're a pretty emo band, they mostly kind of stick to that sort of theme and vibe, the sort of sad emo thing. And but I think it gives us a little room to play with. I think there are some songs and Sweet that kind of branch out from that a little bit and are a little bit more upbeat and happy. And then for part two, we maybe kind of leaning in a little bit to the sadder side of things. And then we'll see for part three. But yeah, it gives us some room to kind of play around with each different release and theme them a little bit.
Yeah. No, you got to give a bit of a roller coaster of emotions on albums these days. Get us
Yeah,
expecting the unexpected, really.
for sure.
So with the tour, what do you feel like you're most excited about? I know it's probably a question you get a lot, but coming back to Australia, you guys were here in November 2023, obviously opening for All Time Low. Before that, I think you were here in 2022. What are you most excited about returning to Australia and providing with the amazing set that you guys are going to do?
Gosh, it's tough. I mean, I think first of all, just the tour in general, and we went over, Jack's Mannequin, the home team, and just how great those bands are, and how excited I am to be on the road with them. But also just Australia has been such a cool home for us. Going back to the first time we came there in 2007 with Paramore, and then
Yeah, wow.
Soundwave 2008 or 9 or something was the second time we came. And seeing things kind of grow so much. And by that second time that we came there for Soundwave, there were these massive crowds singing every word, and just the amount of love that Australia has shown us going back to the very beginning is pretty unreal. So I know the shows are going to be great and special and so much fun, and these will be the biggest shows that we've ever headlined over there. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just exciting, and it's also just such a cool place. We love the people and the culture, and going out. Usually, because of the way things are kind of routed in Australia, you're having to fly between cities, so
Yeah.
you end up having a decent amount of days off to go, and days that typically you would be driving, in the States or other places. But so yeah, a lot of time to go and explore, and the cities are so cool, and the nightlife is so cool, going out for dinner and drinks and all that. So it's just it's going to be so much fun for sure.
Amazing. That's definitely a bonus you would get over here with all the being able to fly rather than driving. Because I tell you, I drove from Brisbane to Melbourne. That was 20 hours. That is a long trek. So I couldn't
Oh
imagine
my
driving around
gosh.
the whole country for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Derek. We're all really, really super excited to have you back in Australia. We have missed you guys so, so much. And yeah, I was with, like, as I said, like I followed you guys around the tour with All Time Low. And I hope Matt didn't steal any snacks that I brought you guys in Sydney.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, you too.
Yeah, well,
But
that's so sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're so excited to come back.